Hello, Commander.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this party started. So, we are going to now be playing, or joining in the finals match between Qzipco and AdmiralGeneral on Bethesda.
Select starting location.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. They're gonna need your help. They're gonna need your support because hot dog. This little map. Okay, right. Okay, I like this map. This is one of those maps that you gotta have that air superiority on. I mean, as you can see, it's a game of chutes and ladders. Oh no, this one says Qzipco. GLHF coming out from Qzipco. Do we get the Manor GLHF from AdmiralGeneral though? Both players, by the way, shout outs to the Wrath of Quel'Thalos or Quathos. I know I'm gonna keep murdering the name, but my apologies in advance. So, AdmiralGeneral versus Qzipco. AdmiralGeneral did lose to Qzipco in the first time they met. So, will he be able to, bring it back? I do believe he has to win this match if he wants to bring it to a tied game. As I do believe if he loses the previous loss against him, as it was Qzipco, will carry into this match. So I do believe it is a do or die situation. We'll have to see. On Bethesda, or we got the commanders spawning in. So, spawning in on the north side, you got one of the commanders. You got Qzipco. Go with the vehicle or the bot factory. While his opponent, AdmiralGeneral, is also going for the same thing. But do we see a early? Yep. So both players getting that early air factory again, very important. Going with bots. Very standard on these larger maps where mobility is very important, and you got to have that, strong like bull economy to keep yourself afloat. Now, we do see that it was a Fabber first instead of a Combat Fabber from AdmiralGeneral, so he's going to be playing. Well, did we see a combat Fabber immediately after? Okay, so AdmiralGeneral basically just trying to get his metal extractor first before the combat Fabber starts to do the reclaim process. Not too big of a deal. I mean, in terms of build orders, it's just slightly different. But AdmiralGeneral will have his fabricator, and he will have an extra metal extractor way before Qzipco. Now, Qzipco's Fabber started to make its way, and he will have an entire build of one metal extractor ahead of his opponent on top of the combat Fabber reclaim. We do see the scouts now moving out here for AdmiralGeneral. We should be seeing, actually no, we do see an air Fabber from Qzipco. So though these are minute changes, and you might be thinking to yourself, Ghost, it doesn't matter. It's like one Fabber. Who cares? One air Fabber, kind of like the flood from Halo. If one air Fabber survives, a whole entire army can arise from it, okay? And it's very scary if you're not careful. Now, we do see AdmiralGeneral is just kind of scouting around, trying to figure out what's going on, what it do. And this Hummingbird should clean this up. It's gonna be close. Do we see the fights? Oh, that Hummingbird just missing by about 4 or 5 miles, but it kind of depends on your view of things. Oh no, let's not do this. No pings, please. Pings going out already from the caster's analyst desk, and as much as I do enjoy hearing pings from random people, I do have eyes, as do all of you, and I do believe in the fact that some of you can kind of infer and predict things on your own level. I do believe that I have a very smart group here with you. So, we see double bots, double air, and a metal storage, interesting choice. While at the same time we are seeing, actually I think exactly identical, yep, double bots, double air. So we are seeing a completely identical opening start so far from both players, with Qzipco actually taking the economic lead. I do believe with the combat Fabber reclaim process that is giving him that extra metal, and I do believe he's just kind of spread out a little bit quicker than AdmiralGeneral. So as you can see, some of the metal in his base haven't been captured, but that is also because he, does have a few turrets placed in very strategic positions, which does matter. It definitely does matter when you'll have these like docks just raiding in, every which way, and it can just drive you insane. I tell you what. A lot of fabricators from Qzipco. We see a total fabric count of 8 compared to Admiral General's 3. So very big fabric count. Obviously, Qzipco feeling very safe in his movements right now. We do have these air armies just kind of flying around, trying to just get some damage done, but they'll probably just keep trading about, just chasing each other around, kind of like Zerglings from StarCraft. Not too big of a deal, but it will probably matter in the long run if they start to kind of trade out and one starts to snowball. Again, the air army is very, very important for just your general base mobility and safety, as if you're not careful, bombers can be very deadly on a map where travel time does matter very much. Again, finding air fabricators, it just kind of stinks to be an air fabber in this case. We do see a lot of docks just making their way around the base, or on the planet, excuse me. Some units just trying to trade out, figure out what's going on. We do see a bit of an air engagement here, and all of the air units from Admiral General have been completely cleaned up. As well, just kind of, again, it's that number, that number game. We do see, oh, excuse me, I was gonna say, we do see a Pelican in a tank, interestingly enough. I don't really know why, but okay. So we will probably be seeing just kind of some sniping going around. These, usually if you see the hummingbirds, you'll know kind of where the player's attention is, as obviously air units kind of on the micro-intensive side, but bot factories and just general, oh, hello there, tier 2. So the tier 2 is now starting for Admiral General. Do we see the same for Qzipco? Yes, we do. So basically identical. I mean, these guys are playing to a T on their buildings, and I do believe if we see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bot factories and 2 air factories plus the tier 2. We have 1, 2, so only 2, interestingly enough, only 2 bot factories, but 3 air factories from Qzipco. So Qzipco planning to take a very strong air presence while not being too concerned about his ground presence, which is totally fine. But Admiral General doing the opposite, being more concerned about his ground presence than his air presence. So, again, just different kind of tastes for different players. Obviously, you might have the exact same units as your opponent, but how you use them and how you operate them are completely up to you. Tier 2 about to finish for both players here, as Admiral General and Qzipco have, started this Tier 2 game very quickly, but it does look like Qzipco's Tier 2 is going to finish much earlier, as he has had his commanders sitting on top of and building that Tier 2 factory much quicker. So he'll have a nice little window of opportunity where he will actually get a little bit of an economic boost, more than he currently has from expanding. And he'll probably just get a little bit more Tier 2. Probably hold it for a little bit longer, which is obviously very important. But, you know, it's not serious, especially on a map of this size with 80 metal. Fairly solid number. Obviously, with the metal being as spread out as it is, losing too many metal extractors, obviously a big deal, but it's not too serious as long as you kind of keep, standard control. Now, we do have the Tier 2 bot fabricators being built here for Qzipco, as he does get started on that with the earlier build rush. And do those? Oh, wow. We have commando docks kind of coming up from the seas and doing exactly what they need to do. While Admiral General, with his very strong bot push, he's going to start making his way into Qzipco's base. Now, the issue with this, though, is the Tier 2 is already up, so we should see slammers once this this Tier 2 bot fabber is completed. Do we see slammers immediately? Yes, we do. And the thing about slam...
in critical condition.
Oh, are those... Wait, are those... Hang on a minute. Are those bots under... What? Where are those bots? Hang on. Oh, there they are. There they are. Oh, hello there, little friends. What are you doing? So, bots known for their great leg game, obviously able to basically... Wow, so they go under the... Huh, interesting. I was wondering, I don't see any of the bots there. I wonder what's going on. Well, they are also known for their digging expertise and are also able to go underground. So, the more you know, right? Some docks making a serious effort to try and probably take down this Tier 2 here. They are going to try their bestest. There are no slammers in the area, so these docks have a very strong window of opportunity. The Tier 2, or the air, excuse me, coming in here to try and clean it up. The bombers going to just eviscerate all of the docks. The air from Admiral General does have to back off, as it cannot contend with all of those units. But the thing is, he does see the Tier 2, and let's just take a quick look at what Admiral General saw. He did see the Tier 2. He didn't... Oh, and not much else, but he knows... And he can confirm of the Tier 2, which is very important. Now, of the flip side, what does Qzipco know? Well, he should be assuming that there is tier 2 somewhere at this point. I mean, it's kind of natural to assume, and with the vision of the slammers, he probably does know, but still. Actually, quite interesting to note, Qzipco taking a very noticeable economic lead here. He's now up about 100 metal on his opponent, and again, those little things can add up very quickly when you're basically trying to split hairs here. So, though Qzipco did take a bit of damage, and he is floating now, especially, I think he has, yeah, he does have a metal storage, ironically enough. You know, I think Admiral General probably needs to use some of his air army here to maybe try and snipe off some of the expansion instead of just kind of trying to attack Qzipco's base. And we do see that some of the docks trying to make their way around, but there are actually quite a few well-placed turrets here. So if Admiral General wants to try and move in, well, you've got to fight quite a few turrets. And while docks are good, they do not do well in prolonged engagements, especially against turrets. We do see, though, Admiral General starting to try and clean this up as Qzipco just starts to expand. At the same time, though, we do see the exact same happening with Admiral General's metal extractors, and you know, we can see the numbers slowly coming back down here for Qzipco. Admiral General just slowly trying to get it back, just bring it back. A lot of oh goodness, Faber fight! Faber fight! So some fabricators just saying hi to each other, get started on getting rid of some of these metal extractors, and we do see a lot of just kind of general trading out here. As again, it is a game of economy, and if you're not careful, oh, Admiral General's units flying through some anti-air. I mean, it was probably the better choice, as he didn't want to try and engage on that, but now he's just flying into a really bad engagement, and he's gonna try and scrap, but Qzipco's units are nice and bunched up. He does, you're sitting on top of a turret. Oh, no. Oh, actually, fun fact, all of the units are amphibious, the more you know. So, Qzipco does actually, I guess, let those spinners, or those hummingbirds escape, and looking, oh yeah, he's just going, oh yeah, so we are seeing a pure planetary annihilation god here, as he's going pure air. Not even worrying about the ground unit. He's like, you know what? You've got docks. Psh, I've got bombers. What are you gonna do about it, right? At the same time, though, what do we see out of Admiral General? As he does have he's still sticking with these bots. Interestingly enough, he's saying, all right, you have the air. That's fine. I'm gonna just outproduce you on the ground. And though your air army is big and it is vicious, it can only be at one place at one time. So while Qzipco will have this very powerful air army that Admiral General will most likely never be able to kill, again, his units can only be at one place at one time, and Admiral General will be everywhere. He will become the omnipotent god that is required of his units. So, going to continue just pushing out, being aggressive with these units. A bot factory has just completed, and as you can see, the economies. Admiral General has been on the downscale, on the downside of this for the entire time, but I would not say that he is out of this just yet. He is still fighting, and I would like to see him maybe build some just kind of sporadic spinner placement, just to basically ward off where Qzipco's units can go. So what I mean by that is, you see all these air units here? Well, let's place a spinner right there. Oh, let's place a spinner here. Let's place a spinner there. So if Admiral General ever wants to, or if Qzipco, excuse me, ever wants to fly through here, he's just going to be constantly taking, like, unnecessary damage, which, that's a big deal. I mean, having no-fly zones for your opponent's units can be very important if you're trying to, you know, beat them, obviously. So, right now, obviously, Admiral General and Qzipco just kind of trading things out, and this is where I'm a little bit unsure as to how Admiral General is going to win this. Yes, he does have a lot of docks, but those bombers, I mean, his micro must be absolutely insane to just hotkey, send, relabel, hotkey, send, relabel, I mean, units in droves. And as you can see, it looks like he just decided to planet patrol all of those units so he wouldn't lose them immediately. And at the same time, you know, Qzipco's like, it's okay, but I've got bombers, I've got spinners, I've got hummingbirds. What I would like to see, and we did see this in the lower bracket, in the casual side of this tournament, I would really like to see more tier 2 from the players. As we saw in the 1v1, or in the previous 1v1s, yeah, there we go.
you know, whenever a player would hit like 200 or 300 metal, that was their indicator to go for another tier 2 factory, as that just kind of indicates their economy is strong enough, they're okay, you know, they're still doing fine. I would actually like to see that from Qzipco. Admiral General has started on it, but I think one of the things that, yes, you do have this great and vast air army, you need something to capture the ground with. I mean, if Admiral General just gets fed up with it, starts building some hummingbirds, he never has to fully beat Qzipco's army. All he'll ever have to do is just kill off the bombers, take out this sting in that bumblebee, and all you have is just a bunch of hummingbirds just flying around looking at you angry, just kind of doing flybys going, oh yeah, I could kill you if I had my buddy the bumblebee here, but you know, there's nothing that the hummingbirds can do. They are solely anti-air, and if those bombers of Qzipco's get killed, there's nothing else they can do. I think a commando squad of Qzipco's units, though, they do make it in, or I guess near Admiral General's base. Does Qzipco realize that they still exist? We'll have to decide. Tune in next week for another exciting episode of Slammer Slaughters. Yeah, that's and we'll have to see. It does look like Admiral General will just kind of meet with these units. It doesn't look like he's too mindful of them. We're going to leave the pip just following the air army of Qzipco, as where it goes will be very important to how the kind of the outcome of the game is. Oh my goodness, look at that bomber. I mean, it is a bomber toilet. You get, where are the hummingbirds? Oh, they're all dead. I mean, that would have been a base, or a base killing army push right there if Admiral General just would have had the hummingbirds to, you know, kill off, take the stinger out of those bumblebees, but he didn't. He just didn't have the units there. So while it would have been really nice to see, it just kind of, it wasn't meant to be. Hey, look at me, I'm running. Can I please? Thank you. All right. I just want to have that pip on cooldown. So this is where the air army gets a little bit scary. It does look like a lot of Admiral General's units have actually been cleaned up here, and he's in this basically this lull of productivity, and so all the bombers are going, well, okay, I'll just go fight you then. And he's just, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of bombers, but it's just enough to constantly do damage and clean this up. Now, Admiral General is going to meet them. He does get a few of the bombers and then loses all of his air units, but they're still, excuse me, just, oh no, this is not what you want to have happen when you're trying to defend. Admiral General needs to spread his units out, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing here to try and mitigate those losses. But Admiral General's forward momentum has been completely crushed. As you can see, there is very little units here of Admiral General's, because as you saw with with that attack, look at that. That was all of, I mean, boom, all of his rebuilding. Boom, and now he's on par. He's gonna try and start rebuilding again, but because of those air units, the bombers are just vicious. I mean, he's slowly climbing back up, but it's not gonna really matter as long as those bombers just constantly exist. At this point, again, he needs to start dropping some of those MC spinners. They need to start kind of getting rid of something to try and get rid of them. And actually, this commander's in a little bit of a pickle here. Docks are, you know, really nice, but slammers are even better to try and get rid of any sort of units. And as you can see, these slammers are very healthy still. This commander has to be careful. He can fight these slammers, but if he's, okay, good. He fired the Uber. Very good, very clean, very safe. Actually, as a matter of fact, Qzipco might be able to actually just dive in and kill this commander if he's smart about it. If he's really smart about it, he might be able to just go in here and right-click on the commander, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing. He realizes it just as soon as I realize it, and no, yes, he does. He does have enough bombers, so Admiral General will be falling down. GG says Qzipco. Boom goes the dynamite. And, I mean, it was a very good fought match, but because he never, I mean, he started to kind of realize that he needed to get the anti-air. He never really followed through with it. He never really said, okay, my opponent's got a lot of anti-air, or a lot of bombers. I need to get anti-air. I need to get, you know, something to stop it. But oh, that was, you know, it was good. But those two pushes, as we can see with the units, the total units tab, doing fine. Huge loss. You know, and he just started to get ahead of him, and then another loss. because that air army was just so big, you know, there was just no way that Admiral General could stop it, basically. So, congratulations to Qzipco. He, I do believe, is the winner of the finals round. Now, if I remember correctly, Admiral General should be going back down to fight Neon to figure out second and third place. So, we'll have to see how that plays out.
Hey guys, it's Ghost here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like it, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and make sure to turn up that audio because we're about to kick it.
Goodbye. Goodbye.